Welcome. This is Les Solgrove. It is today, gosh, I've almost lost track of what day it was. Tuesday, May 26th, after that holiday, it kind of throws you off. It's noon, week 21 of the 2020 year, and this is the Des Moines Real Estate Market Update. And I have a guest today who's no stranger to real estate in the city of Des Moines. Linda Westergaard is with me, and she grew up in Des Moines Union Park area and graduated from North High School. And she's currently a realtor with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services First Realty. And she and her husband, Neil, have both been involved in their community all of their lives. And in 2017, I'm so thrilled because Linda was elected to the Des Moines City Council, and she currently represents Ward 2. And I asked Linda on today with me to talk a little bit about how COVID-19 is affecting the city of Des Moines. So welcome, Linda, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join me.
Thank you, Les. I'm happy to be here, and hello to everybody that's taking part in this Zoom call. I look forward to hearing from everybody, and I'm looking forward to this time together.
Great. Well, we'll just jump right in. I will give everybody a heads up that I gave Linda some questions ahead of time so that I don't like to put anybody on the spot, and these are pretty easy questions, I hope, today, but I think they're pretty appropriate to how COVID-19 is kind of affecting things. So with that said, we do know that COVID-19 is going to have a long-lasting effect on our economy, all the way from national, state, and down to the local levels. And so, Linda, tell me, how do you foresee that the city is coping overall? How is the city coping with COVID-19?
Well, I think overall as a city, we're coping very well, and I think the residents in our city are coping very well. Yes, we've had some disruptions with some services, but we've been able to handle everything very well. We're still meeting with our, plan and zoning is still meeting, Board of Adjustment is still meeting, traffic and transportation. We're just doing it via Zoom meetings. And I think everybody's liking the Zoom meetings. They like how well they work. So I have a feeling that many of us are going to keep doing Zoom meetings long into the future. While we have had to furlough some employees, we furloughed approximately 160 employees back in March when we started shutting things down, and we split those furloughs evenly between full and part-time employees. And then of course our libraries are completely closed, but we've still continued on with public works. We're still doing street maintenance, we're still collecting your garbage. We did have to suspend our pick up
like the recycling and stuff.
Well, we still do recycling, but if you had a large item, and you'd put a large item out, we did suspend those pickups, but now we have started those again. We had to delay 2 scrub events in March and in April, and that always is a huge turnout with residents. They come to the recycling site, either the Harriet Street or we have a facility up on Delaware. Now those have reopened and they've been very busy. So I'm glad that residents were able to hang on. We ask people, don't put your furniture or your large items out on the curb because we're not going to pick them up. Yeah. And I think everybody handled that very well. So yeah. I think we're coping very well. Just since I've taken office, we've had things happen in our city. We lost a couple of police officers shortly after I went into office. Ward 2 in 2018, we had devastating floods. Right. And we learned to adapt and recover from our emergencies. And we will learn to adapt to this, and we will recover from this. I think it'll be a long term, but we'll come back. I think all of us will be just fine.
Oh.
We're all in this together, and we really gain our strength from our previous experiences.
Yeah, we certainly are. I think coping, and I think the big buzzword right now is pivot. Everybody is kind of pivoting because they realize that recovering and changing is one thing, and with the idea that maybe you go back to the old ways. But now with everything that's happening, like you said, with Zoom meetings, it's a pivot. We're going to change the way we do things. So,
yep. I think the hardest part for all of us has just been with how to deal with the uncertainty and the disruption.
Right.
We all are in this together, unlike the floods where it didn't affect everybody. This is affecting everybody.
Right.
Our entire city will be different.
Right.
Because of it. We've put something in our zoning code where now we have 5-foot sidewalks. And I'm reading in the national publications that because of the pandemic, maybe we ought to look at even wider sidewalks.
Wow.
in areas, because how we gather is going to be much different.
Yep. And that's kind of a good lead into kind of my next question. And you'll see on the screen, really watching, you see that we've got the Des Moines City website up, and I've actually put the direct URL right in the middle of that graphic, dsm.city/COVID-19. And this is a great resource of how the city is coping, and a long list of things that are being disrupted from, like you said before, libraries and of course parks and rec and stuff. So tell me about some of the changes around the city that the general public is seeing right now, and what we can expect as summer arrives and hopefully that things start to open.
Well, and it changes every day. So, what I say today may not be in effect tomorrow, but that website that you went to is really awesome because it'll give an up-to-date message with what's happening. I think what I'm hearing from residents and where I think we're experiencing the most changes would be in our park and rec program. We're coming into summer and people are depending on swim lessons, and they, all the things the kids like to play ball. We have summer leagues. We have all kinds of things going on in our community. And that's pretty much been on hold right now. All of our park and rec facilities are closed now through until June 15th. We'll see as the situation and guidelines change. We'll keep that updated, and once the governor says, hey, we're back in business again, then we'll start opening things up. And I did just get a text saying that outdoor activities, sounds like the governor is opening up amusement parks. So it may change next week. We don't know. We're just going to take it one day at a time. But our facilities that are closed right now through June 15th is our open air shelters, our recreation centers, our senior meal sites, which is really difficult.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't think about that naturally. Yeah, that's
yep. Our senior meal sites, our youth and adult programs. We've got a 4-mile skate park, Gray's Lake. The beach is still closed. The concessions are closed. So these are all things that we use and we know and we love. Probably the biggest impact that I'm seeing is our shelter houses for the parks are rented nonstop. They are rented all the time, and people depend on them for birthday parties, weddings, receptions, and those are all closed. So hopefully we'll be able to get those back opened up. But that's a a big effect in our city, I believe.
Yeah, and you know what? You're right. Those are the things we don't really think about until they're gone
Mhm.
or they're currently not available. But there's a lot of projects that are still ongoing.
Well, I know most neighborhoods enjoy the free flicks. Yep, we have our free flicks program that goes in the summer, that every neighborhood will have host a movie in the park. And people have come to love those,
Sure.
and it's a great time to gather, and now those are all on hold. So it's definitely going to be different for us. We're just going to have to look for other ways to
Yeah.
entertain.
Well, I tell you one thing that's not changed, or at least it doesn't appear to be changed, is there's all kinds of street repairs going on. And of course, I'm on the south
Yeah.
side, and Fleur Drive, it's in our second year of construction with the upgrading of utilities and all the resurfacing. And my favorite point, of course, is sidewalks. But, how is coronavirus affecting our city projects like these? Obviously, budgetary, there's going to be some budget issues, but how's that being affected?
Right. In our engineering department, we have many street and road repairs that are budgeted. They're already budgeted for being worked on, just like the Fleur Drive. We've contracted that out. The city puts out bids, and so we have contractors that are out there working, and for the most part, they're still working.
Mm-hmm.
So, these people are mostly outside working, and so they feel very comfortable. So our road projects and things are still they're still moving forward. In Ward 2, we've got a couple of sewer separation projects going on. That's through the wastewater reclamation, which is a regional organization that we work with. But those are all contracted out, and for the most part, those people are still working. So we're still moving forward. Riverview Park, which has been a big project in the city of Des Moines, we were supposed to have that finished by July 1st. I think we'll still finish it July 1st. The contractor's still on track to close. We just won't be able to have our grand opening and
Right.
our celebrations that we can look back and say, hey, look what we've done. I think in the future, one thing that we have to think about is, for when we passed the 1 cent sales tax, we made the commitment to go into our neighborhoods and spend that money in our neighborhoods with additional sidewalks that are near schools or bus stops. We want to make sure that people can travel safely.
Right.
And we were right on pace to do that. We're on pace. We were actually exceeding our pace. We were getting things done quicker than what we had even anticipated, especially with taking down, we have our blitz on blight, and we were moving right along with getting those houses down. Now, because of the pandemic, we know that our sales tax will not be what it was projected to be.
Right.
So
Right.
it may slow down some projects, but they're still going to happen.
Well, and we appreciate that. And we understand that everybody's seeing some changes here. So,
Mm-hmm.
Our city's public safety services like police, fire, and rescue, they continue to operate during these times. And frankly, we just always want to publicly thank them for continuing to operate in any situation they're in. And what kind of advice can you give us that Des Moines citizens can do to help our public safety departments out right now?
That's really a good question, Les, and I appreciate that you bring it up. Our firefighters and our first responders are out there every single day, and they are working for the residents in the city. And I think that sometimes they don't get the recognition that they certainly deserve. So I would,
Even in good times, they don't. I don't believe.
Yep, that's exactly right. And I would just encourage everybody to to give a shout out to the police and the fire if you see them. You know, our fire departments, they're running all the time. Now they're probably closed right now, but generally you as the public can walk into a fire station anytime and say, hey, thanks for what you're doing, or give me a tour. I take my grandkids into the stations just to, look at the fire trucks.
Right.
So hopefully we'll be able to do that, but we need to let them know how much we appreciate them. Send them a card. Send the fire station in your neighborhood a card and just say, hey, thanks for everything you're doing. They really appreciate it. So just stay positive and give them encouragement and support them.
Well, very good. Well, we know that 2020 is going to be a year unlike any other, and we have all kinds of entertainment activities, like you were mentioning, the parks and things. Of course, Iowa Cubs baseball is most likely not going to happen this year.
Yeah.
Parks and trails have limited access now. The governor just this past weekend started reopening campgrounds for Memorial Day weekend, and restaurants back at limited services and stuff. But there's one event that is on everybody's mind, and we're all kind of waiting to hear about, and that, of course, is the Iowa State Fair, and it's by far the largest event held in our city boundaries every August, and I think it draws in excess of 1 million visitors every year, and plus the workers that come every year from all over the state. And so, if I'm going to put you on the spot, I'm going to ask you this one question. And this is just your thoughts. What do you think is going to happen to the Iowa State Fair this year?
Les, I wish I could answer that, but I honestly do not know. I know that with Minnesota and Ohio closing their state fairs, it wouldn't surprise me, but we're an agriculture state, and the governor is very, agriculture is very important to her. So she might allow it to be open. I don't know if she'll have some rules in place, but we'll see what the governor decides. Right. I think she's got a whole team of people that are helping advise her and work with her. So we'll see what she does. It's not going to be business as usual. I think it will definitely look different. I know some of the headliners there, I've heard, have already canceled their appearances at the state fairs. So I don't know. I would hope that we could continue on, but I know the safety of those that live in our state, has to be a number one priority.
Well, we have a few people on the call today, and
okay.
If anybody has a question, hit the space bar and ask away here. Otherwise,
absolutely.
A second to ask something. Christine, Jim, anybody?
Linda, I appreciate your efforts and your service as a council person and representing the city of Des Moines, and I appreciate you being here today. I don't know if I really have, the questions, I guess, are they're daily questions for all of us on what we can and can't do. And, the governor, just before this meeting started, she opened up basically allowing some of the tracks, the casinos, other things to open. Do you think the city of Des Moines will follow suit June 1, or will they hold on to the 15th? Do you have any idea on whether or not we'll be able to go to do some of the regular activities in the city?
I think that we will leave things closed until June 15th. That's what our proclamation says. So I know that the Arts Festival has already been canceled. Back in March, we shut down the parade. So right now, all of those, anything that's on public space has been shut down. Now with this announcement today, I don't know where we'll be. I'm sure that I'll be hearing from the city and we'll have those discussions.
Well,
Very
again,
good.
appreciate all your efforts and everything, and
Thank you.
thanks for being here.
Very good. Well, very good. Well, Linda, thank you so much for today for joining me. And I'll ask if you want to stick around here for another couple minutes. I've just got about 4 or 5 slides to kind
I
of,
would.
and but I want to publicly thank you for all you do, just like Jim and says, and representing not only Ward 2, I believe you represent the city, and home ownership is so important to you
It
and
is.
families, and so thank you so much for joining me today. And I'm going to share my screen back again here real quick, and we're going to jump kind of back into just a couple of market stats of where we're at this week in week 21. And then if you have any final questions at the end or any comments at the end, we'll let you have the last word. So with that being said, what you see on the screen here is a graphic that shows 2019 home pricing trends versus 2020, and 2019 is the dotted line, and you can see in the middle there about week 10 we were pretty close to being on track where we were last year with 246,000 was the median list price. Now these aren't home values, this is actually just taking a look at one segment of our market, the single family resale, which is our largest part of our marketplace, and just saying, okay, what is pricing doing every year? And you can see that this flat line that we kind of see across here from week 11 all the way till about 2 weeks ago is where the Des Moines market kind of was just kind of stalling and just kind of holding on and trying to figure out what was going to happen. And what this really represents is that while the low to entry level price points were willing to come onto the market, it's the upper price point homes that really haven't really come back on the market too well until a couple of weeks ago. And that's what you're seeing, is why you see this jump in the median list price trending. And we're currently about 269.9 versus 265 a year ago in our median list price of homes for sale. So this is the homes that people have to choose from. And median obviously is just, pricing is 50% of the price homes are priced above 269.9 and 50% are listed below 269.9. That's the way the median works. And if we look at sale pending properties, now this is the price of homes at the time the home went under contract. It doesn't necessarily represent what the home sold for, but this is the price point of the homes that went under where they were when they went under contract. And again, in March, we were pretty lockstep with 2019, kind of mirroring that. And what we've seen, and I think a lot of this has to do with record low mortgage interest rates, we're seeing that people are actually looking at and making offers on higher priced homes this year because A, they can afford it, and number two, or B, they're in their homes more this last 8-10 weeks, and they're realizing that maybe the home that they used for just get home at the end of the day and spend weekends in, now that they're spending most of their time in their homes during the day, they're finding that maybe they need a little bit bigger house. So I think we're going to see some trending as we move throughout the rest of this year of not only people taking advantage of these low mortgage interest rates, but also maybe upsizing a little bit. And you can see we're just slightly above where we were last year at this time. We're at 213,825, and that's the median price of homes being with offers accepted versus 210 of last year. And this last graphic here is really the one that tells the whole story. This is looking at the median sale price. So these are closed transactions. This is actually the price of homes being sold this year. And I spread this one out over the entire year so you can kind of see what would normally happen in the black dotted line. And here's this line right here after March is really when COVID-19 started to hit. And if you look right today, or as of last Sunday, actually, when this graphic was produced, we have, $30,000 difference there. or is it 20,000? It's anyway. We've got a large difference there between where we were last year at this time. The median sale price was 194.5. Today it's 214.9, and what that's telling us is that, again, home buyers out there can afford to buy more because the mortgage interest rates are at such record low levels. And even during the coronavirus's worst part of a year, we started to see home purchase prices on the rise. And we typically peak out in July, and then kind of, you can see we have a little bit of a dip, and then it kind of holds steady until fall. And I think we're just going to see this kind of continue to rise through the rest of the summertime. We're going to have a summer market instead of a spring market this year. So open houses. This is another thing. Every single week I talk about open houses, because this is the one that, back in week 12, I said, oh, this is probably going to mean the end of open houses. And frankly, I'm having to eat crow on that now and say, I don't think we're going to see open houses go away or diminish to the point where, we've seen them kind of slowed down here. I really thought that this might really change things. But you can see week 20, 2 weeks ago, we had a nice little jump in open house traffic, where the blue is the resale market and the purple is new construction. And when you see this, week 19 had 67 resale homes open to 191 in week 20. Now, week 21, we had a little bit of a slowdown because it's Memorial Day weekend. In fact, let's take a look at that year over year. The red line is where 2019 open houses were, the limits, and where we are this year. And we are right on track. I mean, very, very close to being back to the levels we were for 2019 versus 2020. And so it will not surprise me at all this next weekend. Now, this will be the first weekend after a major holiday weekend. And it's kind of like the unofficial flooding of the home sellers and home buyers. I really think we're going to see open houses take a large jump next week, and would not be surprised at all if we meet or even exceed the previous weeks, because now we have buyers that are finally getting the go ahead to start to maybe move out a little bit again, and home sellers are starting to feel a little bit more comfortable letting people in. So this could be your opportunity to get out there and see some open houses this next week. So, of course, all my graphics and all my stats each week are located at simplydesmoinesstats.com, which takes you to a Facebook page. And the best place on that Facebook page is to go to the photos section, and that's where all the photo sets of all these graphics that you're seeing this week and many, many more. There's about 25 different graphics I track each week, and those are all available by going to simplydesmoinesstats.com and then clicking on the photos section, where you'll see all the photo sets. And it's just a great resource. The dashboard, I always talk about the dashboard. It's just a great resource of one stop. Every single category, from resale to new construction, and then the single family to the condo townhomes, are all split out. So just a good resource for you there. So next week, the update is going to be on June 2nd, which is a week from today at noon. And Sunday is the end of the week that I pull my stats on, and it also happens to be the end of the month. So next week I will not have a guest. I'll be talking predominantly about what happened in the month of May, and then any updates for the last week of May, which will be week 23 next week. So I hope you'll join me, and I've got some kind of fun stuff coming down the pipe. I'm putting together a YouTube channel so that I can not only broadcast this on Zoom, that maybe I can start to simulcast it on YouTube, and it'll make it a lot easier for you to be alerted that, hey, there's a live event happening. And so when that's launched, we'll invite you to join us. And with that, Linda, do you have any final comments you want to share with me today?
No, thank you very much for inviting me. It's been my pleasure.
Well, very good. And always look forward to talking with you. You're not only a competitor, but you're a good friend of mine, and I value that. And we certainly thank you for all your hard work with the city, and I hope that we have the opportunity to work together on a co-op deal. So
Great. Thank you, Les.
very good. With that, we'll end it for this weekend. Thanks again, and we'll see you next Tuesday, June 2nd at noon. Talk to you later.
Thank you.